Laurie is with us. Laurie, thank you for joining us. What on earth do you
Hey,
make of these?
Peter.
Hi, what do you make of these dramatic developments over the past 24 hours?
Do you know what, Peter? And really interesting hearing your pollster because and hearing that Americans did not think he'd be convicted. I always thought he'd be convicted, not least because he was tried by a jury in Manhattan. Probably 10 people in Manhattan who actually voted for Donald Trump. It would be very hard to find an unbiased jury in Manhattan. And I'm surprised actually that his legal team didn't work harder
There
to
were
try and
jurors
change
who
the
were
venue.
removed, weren't there?
That
Because
said,
there is this process, isn't there, where you can object to jurors. But no, certainly, I mean, I lived in Manhattan
yes.
for a year, and it is a very, very liberal, very democratic place, yeah.
Absolutely. And most of New York is, and Manhattan in particular, despite being a native son, Donald Trump is not popular in Manhattan. And I'm surprised that his legal team didn't try for a change of venue. But the thing is that despite the fact I expected him to be found guilty, I'm still shocked, and I'm not sure how to reconcile those two things. Expecting it, yet hearing that he at the moment is a convicted felon is quite shocking. But I think what comes next is the appeal system. And I think they're probably, and I say this with no great affection for Donald Trump, but I think there are a number of grounds for appeal in this particular case, not least the fact that Alvin Bragg, the prosecutor, the district attorney, sort of combined state law. This was tried in state court, but there was an implication. What elevated Donald Trump's transgressions to a felony was some kind of a hazy accusation that he may have violated electoral laws, most of which are federal. And you don't tend to mix and match these things. And I think that can give grounds for appeal. And I suspect we'll hear something about an appeal quite soon.
Yes, certainly, and there's no doubt that this is not over. Donald Trump will be sentenced, of course, in a few weeks' time. It'll be really interesting to see what happens there. He is defiant to the end. Can we play again what Donald Trump said outside the court? I just want to play this little clip of Donald Trump, actually, and what he says, about 30 seconds of the former president and possible future president in terms of what had happened in the court, his views on the court and on the judge as well. Let's just play this again.
This was a disgrace. This was a rigged trial by a conflicted judge who was corrupt. The real verdict is going to be November 5th by the people. And they know what happened here, and everybody knows what happened here. You have a Soros-backed DA, and the whole thing. We didn't do a thing wrong. I'm a very innocent man, and it's okay. I'm fighting for our country. I'm fighting for our Constitution. Our whole country is being rigged right now. This was done by the Biden administration in order to wound or hurt an opponent, a political opponent.
There are a lot of people, Laurie, who will agree with every single word Donald Trump has said, including a lot of the electorate, who will feel that they'll miss perhaps the detail of this. They'll not know perhaps every single aspect of it. And there will be people who know every single aspect of it. We've callers to this station, very informed people who've read everything, they've watched everything, they've read the judgments, they've listened to what the judge said and so on, and they still feel that he has been targeted. This is political, and to many people, this is not something which is in any way equitable, certainly when it comes to other prosecutions of other politicians.
And Peter, you have nailed what I think is the biggest danger of not only this trial, but the other trials that are pending against Donald Trump. And this is an erosion in the faith of the judicial system in the US. And I think this is very dangerous. And I think this will be Donald Trump's legacy, that people no longer trust the judiciary. And Donald Trump, we just heard him say that this was rigged and that this was Joe Biden had something to do with this. That's patently untrue. Again, this is a state court. Joe Biden has nothing to Joe Biden is a federal official. He can't influence these things. But as you say, a lot of people are not going to know that. And people who support Donald Trump can very easily look at this and say their man is being persecuted for political reasons. And if I digress a little bit, if we go down to Georgia, one of the cases that is pending there, you'll remember that the lead prosecutor there, well, essentially was done for conflict of interest. She hired someone that she was having a relationship with to work on this case. This is another thing that erodes the trust in the judiciary. And this is, for me, quite scary. I have grave concerns about this going forward.
Thank you very much indeed, Laurie. Great thoughts there from Laurie Laird, who is a US political commentator.